So I just want to welcome everyone to an evening for healers. If this is your first one or your 14th one, we're glad you're here. It's going to be a great night. My name is Kevin Flood, and it's my privilege to serve as the president and CEO of the LSU Health Foundation. We gather tonight to celebrate our community's unsung and everyday heroes, the incredible healing they deliver each day, and the hope they bring to the lives they touch. We have two incredible patient stories to share with you all tonight that I promise will inspire and uplift you. We also gather tonight to shine a spotlight on our Health Sciences Center, LSU Health Shreveport. It's my belief that LSU Health Shreveport is the beating heart of our region. Through its mission to teach, heal, and discover, it has helped to create a vibrant healthcare community that is the envy of other regions. We all know the importance of today's date. 24 years ago, we saw how first responders brought hope to a city and nation in crisis. You'll hear tonight how our patients experienced that same hope, even while facing the darkest moment in their lives. I'd now like to invite the pastor of New St. James Baptist Church in Monroe, Reverend Samuel Andrews, who will provide tonight's invocation.
Men, shall we pray? Almighty God, we gather together as your children, thanking you for the grace, favor, and divine protection of this day. As we gather on this evening, dear God, to celebrate those whom you've used to bring healing and hope to lives, we pray, dear God, for your presence, and that all that is done on this evening shows the power and magnitude when your love is shown through us all. We ask, dear God, that the spirit of this evening goes forward, and we continue to walk together in your will and purpose, impacting lives on your behalf. Thank you, dear God, for LSU Health Sciences Center and for the work that they do. Keep them in your care. Keep using them to change lives. And we thank you again for this evening and this day. And in Christ Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Andrews. That was wonderful. All right, I want to give a quick plug for something new we have for you at the end of the evening. It's called the Twilight Reception. This will be an opportunity for you to gather with our healers, heroes, and patients and celebrate together. We'll gather in the entrance hall for coffee, cordials, a sweet treat, and some great live music. Before dinner is served, I'd like to recognize some special people that we have with us tonight. We're privileged to have many of our past event chairs. Without them, this type of event would not have happened for the last 14 years. Would all of our past chairs please stand to be recognized? Thank you for putting your touch on this event to make it so memorable. I'd also like to thank our outstanding foundation staff and everyone at LSU Health Shreveport that made this event possible, especially our wonderful med students and health sciences students who are in their white coats. Weren't they looking great tonight? It's always wonderful that we always have our past patients here tonight with us. We have several of them. These individuals have trusted us with their most challenging moments in life and allowed us to share their triumphs. It's inspiring to see you all doing so well today. Let's give them a quick round of applause. As I mentioned earlier, LSU Shreveport is grateful for our government partners and elected officials. With members of the Louisiana Legislature, the Shreveport City Council, the Caddo Commission, as well as Louisiana Surgeon General Dr. Ralph Abraham, Shreveport Mayor Arsenault, Bossier City Mayor Chandler, and all elected officials, please stand so that we may recognize you. The work that you do for us here and in Baton Rouge is crucial to the success of our Health Sciences Center. I have the privilege of working alongside our LSU Health Shreveport Foundation board members, and I'm so honored that many of them are here with us tonight. Would our chairman, Bill Commages, and the Foundation Board of Directors please stand to be recognized? Thank you to each of you for sharing your time and talents for the benefit of LSU Health Shreveport. We are also fortunate to have some important LSU friends with us in the audience. The LSU Board of Supervisors are volunteers who commit a tremendous amount of their time to help LSU achieve great things for our state. We have two supervisors with us tonight, Espy Moran and Rebecca Bonyal. Ladies, please stand so that we can recognize you. They fight hard for us every day, and we appreciate that. We'll now pause for dinner. The service staff has asked that you please stay seated until you've received your meal. For those who have gluten allergy, a little information. The steak and vegetarian dishes are gluten-free. The fish dish is not, so choose wisely. But please enjoy your dinner, and we'll be back shortly. Here at LSU Health Shreveport, we may not field baseball teams, but we are winning nonetheless. Let's check out this video to learn more.
Whether it's baseball or basic sciences, LSU is about winning. And on this campus, winning is everywhere. With groundbreaking innovations and breaking ground on innovative ways to learn. Welcome to a new era for LSU Health Shreveport, where we're partnering with the Air Force, researching ways to improve readiness and resilience for our pilots, so they can perform at their absolute peak. Plus, we're a pilot site for the National Disaster Medical System. So when emergencies happen, we're prepared to live out our mission, to teach, heal, and discover for the entire nation. We're celebrating our students with the largest match day and graduating class in school history, including Louisiana's first ever Doctorate of Occupational Therapy graduates. We're also making sure that while they're on campus, our students' experiences are top-notch. From fitness to a food pantry that ensures everyone has access to healthy, delicious nutrition. We're fueling bodies and shaping minds. Plus, a brand new on-campus restaurant that's serving exactly what you're craving. Our School of Allied Health Professions has entered a new chapter with a new name and new degree programs, leading the way as the School of Health Professions and Sciences. And our scientists are pushing the boundaries of research, advancing understanding, and discovering potential treatments for conditions like heart disease, cancer, addiction, and so many others that will improve the lives of Louisianians and beyond. Plus, we're strengthening the economy with more than $24 million in grant funding to support this groundbreaking work. And speaking of research, we're growing, creating new opportunities for scientific discovery at a reimagined facility that's less than a mile from our main campus, and revitalizing the South Highlands community in the process. And when it comes to patient care, our faculty, residents, and students are raising the bar with new technology and new recruits, offering new treatment options in North Louisiana that never existed before. We're restoring the McDade House for Feistweiler Cancer Center patients so that those traveling don't have to worry about where they can find housing during their treatment. We're serving our community in Shreveport, Bossier, and Monroe, and reaching out to parishes all across Louisiana, hitting the road to screen for cancer as a partner in wellness, and setting up shop with a new rural family medicine residency, because every corner of our state deserves access to quality, compassionate care. Whether it's Oshna, LSU Health Shreveport, a rural hospital, Christus, Willis-Knighton, Brentwood, or any other medical facility throughout North Louisiana, know that we're here to serve, since 7 out of every 10 doctors in the region had been educated or trained by LSU Health Shreveport. So, what goes on at LSU Health Shreveport? We teach, we heal, we discover.
And we serve our patients, our students, our community, and far beyond. And by the way, just like those boys on Saturday night in the yellow hats, we're winning.
I think I want Dr. Johnson as my football coach. He certainly motivates. You know, whether you're a faculty or a staff member, a student of LSU Health Shreveport, or you're a community supporter, I want you to know that each of you is what's helping LSU Health Shreveport win. You are making the difference. And when LSU Health Shreveport wins, our region wins. So thank you for all that you're doing for us. There's no better example of the commitment to LSU Health Shreveport's success than the incredible level of support for our event tonight. Tonight's sponsors truly are our partners. You've seen their names in the programs, on the screens, throughout the room, and the signage out front. Tonight simply would not be possible without them. It's our sponsors, our community, who have been behind the success here at LSU Health Shreveport. Thank you to each and every one of you for your partnership and your commitment. Please join me in giving a round of applause to all of our sponsors. I would especially like to thank our presenting sponsor, Ochsner Health. This is the 7th year that Ochsner Health has been the presenting sponsor for an Evening for Healers. To all of the Ochsner Health and Ochsner LSU Health representatives in the room, I want to thank you for your continuing commitment to our institution in North Louisiana. With us tonight, representing Ochsner Health, is Mr. David Calicod, CEO of Ochsner LSU Health Shreveport System. Please welcome David to the stage.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. You know, I've had an opportunity to attend this event for many years, and this is my first time on stage, and there's a lot of people here. Holy cow. What a great turnout, and just what great support, and thank you. I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening for this wonderful Evening of Healers. Tonight, we honor those who do God's work, extraordinary people who step into the fray to fix those who are broken, comfort those who mourn, and create hope where there is none. I'm absolutely in awe of the work that you do, and I feel privileged to work with you. Looking out at this room, it's filled with dedicated leaders, community partners, and many of our own team members, including our physicians, our nurses, and so many others. And as I reflect on the video that we shared earlier, I see a whole lot of healthcare providers across our entire region here in the audience tonight. And so before I continue my remarks, if you provide healthcare in our community, please stand, regardless of where you're working, if it's Ochsner or Christus or Willis-Knighton, one of our other partner hospitals across the region, please join me. I, like so many of you, chose this profession because it's not a solo endeavor. It takes all of us working together as a team to transform lives and to strengthen our community. When Ochsner and LSU Health Shreveport came together almost 7 years ago, a new partnership was formed, but more importantly, a shared vision was created. We combine LSU Health Shreveport's legacy of medical education, excellence, and Ochsner's proven track record of clinical innovation and care delivery. This partnership has created something really, really remarkable. A healthcare system that not only increases access to best-in-class patient care, but also trains the next generation of healers. By the way, the majority of which we sure hope are going to stay right here in North Louisiana. Together, and you can clap for that, I guess, thank you. Together, we've proven that academia and clinical excellence work hand in hand. And when they do, extraordinary things can happen. This partnership has thrived by significant growth, technological innovation, and notable enhancements in quality. For our community, it means availability of health care that might otherwise require travel to much larger cities. It also means clinical trials that bring hope to patients facing complex conditions. It means a teaching hospital where the brightest minds come together in medicine to work together and solve the most challenging cases. Tonight, you're going to hear two very, very powerful stories that remind us why this work matters. These videos showcase the human side of medicine, the patients whose lives have been transformed by the expertise, the compassion, the teamwork that define our partnership. They represent countless other families across North Louisiana and our region who have found hope and healing and second chances because of what we've built together. We celebrate the physicians, the nurses, our technicians, our therapists, our first responders, and all the folks behind the scenes that make things possible. You embody the spirit of healing each and every day, and you are the healers that bring your unique you're the healers that make these things possible. Each of you have a unique expertise and help us in this shared vision. Whether you are part of the flight team, you spend your days in our ICU, you care for our smallest patients in our NICU, or have a hand in our patients' journey to recovery, you're building something lasting, a legacy that is going to benefit families here in our area for generations. When exceptional skill is joined with empathy and steadfast compassion, true miracles happen. That is what you will witness here tonight. The stories that inspire all of us, the outcomes that drive us, and the patients who remind us why we do what we do. The Oxnard-LSU partnership goes beyond healthcare. It's making a difference in our community for everyone that calls this place home. I want to thank everyone that's here tonight for supporting this event. And most of all, I want to thank the healers who open your hearts and your hands to save and change lives through the miracles of healing. We are grateful for you, and we celebrate you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, David. It's now my pleasure to invite to the stage our interim chancellor at LSU Health Shreveport, Dr. Lester Johnson. Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, Kevin. What a crowd. It is so good to see all of us here tonight together. There is nothing that we can't accomplish in this community and across northern Louisiana if we stay together. Thank y'all so much for being here tonight. I hope you have a great time. And of course, thank you to all of you who have contributed to make this evening possible, and in particular, as has already been said, to our partner, Oshner, and its leadership. Thank you. And to our colleagues and friends, and you surely know who you are, at Willis Knighton, Krista Schumpert, Brentwood, and certainly to all the rural hospitals of Louisiana, we thank you all. And thank each of you for being here tonight as we honor our healers and first responders, those who put their very lives on the line during the pandemic of the century and during the scourge of traumatic violence which still haunts this nation. These individuals are continuing a story of hope and healing that has been in the making for over 50 years on this olden byway of Shreveport called King's Highway. Something very, very special has happened at this address. The very severest schooling, both endured and mastered, is required to deliver healing at the level revealed this evening and deserves our current and continued respect. Tonight I ask that you join me in honoring those who have excelled in performing and understanding that while on this earth the Lord's work must be their own. The individuals honored tonight and in the years past here represent the best of the best, administering to the sickest of the sick. We tonight in no way may add or detract from those who have orchestrated the narrative here at this Health Sciences Center for over a half century. They have faced an ordeal of the most grievous kind, but their history is punctuated by a litany of success. These are the ones among us who have borne the battle. They have occupied a space which is called the bearing point. That point where all pressures from all directions bear. A space occupied where odds are great, margins small, and the cost infinite. They have fought the fights that, although not always winnable, are still those fights that had to be fought. We have asked them to take the figurative last shot for ourselves and for our families. Just imagine the anguish and personal cost to them on those occasions when the shot fails to fall. In conclusion, perhaps no one has described them better or will ever describe them better than the Nobel Prize winning novelist, French author Albert Camus, in his great novel, The Plague. And if I may quote Albert Camus, Roux knew that the tale he had to tell could not be one
a final victory. It could be only the record of what had to be done, and assuredly would have to be done again in the never-ending fight against disease and its relentless onslaughts, despite their personal afflictions, by all who, while unable to be saints, but refusing to bow before pestilences, strive their utmost to be healers. Unquote. May the Lord bless and protect his healers tonight, one and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. We'll now begin with the heart of this evening, our patient stories. One Sunday in November, Clint Bickham was doing what he loves best, hunting in his favorite spot on the Red River. But in an instant, everything changed for him and his family. This is Clint's story.
911, what's your emergency?
Yes, I fell out of a tree stand on the river. I can't feel my legs. Oh.
Just try to stay as calm and still as you can, okay?
Okay. So I'd reached and kind of grabbed onto this branch here, and then I was sliding my left leg down the side of the tree, and this branch broke, and that's when I fell. And I remember my feet landing next to my head right here, kind of compressing like this. I tried to stand up. I obviously couldn't stand up. My legs were in a different position than my brain was telling me they were supposed to be. And that's when I kind of knew there was a lot more wrong than just, falling from the tree. And I felt like I was screaming the whole time in pain and crying, and because I knew something was pretty bad when I couldn't feel my legs.
And normally when Clint is hunting and he calls me, it's because he shot something. I could immediately tell that something was not right. He was panting and kind of hyperventilating, and all he said to me was, "I can't feel my legs." And so I just kind of stopped, and I just said, "What?" And he said, "I can't feel my legs."
Am I going to make this out alive? I didn't know to the extent I couldn't see behind me if I'd cut anything, if there was any bleeding I couldn't feel, down there. So I was, just hoping I'd be able to see, my kids and my wife again.
We got a phone call from Shelby, and she was very upset, and she said, "Clint has had an accident down on the river." And I said, "I'll be down there in just a few minutes." It was getting dark right then at that time, and so we knew we needed to get moving.
He informed me that he had reached out to a few of his buddies, dropped his pin, so they knew his location, and they were also coming.
The EMS truck had arrived there, and they got to that particular area, but I don't think they knew specifically where he was. Thanks to his friends that were there, they told the EMS, "Come follow us. This is where we need to go to get to the edge of the bank to get to Clint."
And when the paramedics and my buddies got to me, they had to put me on a back brace. All 6 of them had to pick me up and walk me through that water and then up the hill to the top of the location. At that time, I was about probably 240 pounds. So to get me out of those woods and across that creek and up that hill is going to be everything we had.
I could see Clint strapped in. He was certainly in pain at that time as he was coming up that hill. Clint never complains about pain, but this time I knew he was hurting bad.
And when I got there, he was getting loaded in the ambulance. He was conscious, and his wife was trying to talk to him, and I knew it wasn't good. It was a scary moment, it really was.
And I get to him, and I just kind of hold his face, and I give him a kiss, and then we just kind of were just looking around at what comes next, because we didn't know. They had just gotten him out of the woods, and from what I heard was very traumatic. He screamed the whole time because he was just in so much pain. He did not look like himself. You know, he's 6'2", he's strong, he can do anything, and he looked scared. For the first time in his life, I saw him scared, and that scared me. But at that point, we were in survival mode, and we were just trying to figure out what we needed to do.
Really glad that she was there and was able to, be there and potentially, if that was our last time, be able to, be together.
They did give us the option to put him on the ambulance or use the helicopter. I asked her, I said, well, how long would it take you to get him with the ambulance? And she said 45 minutes to an hour. And I said, how long would it take you with the helicopter? She said 10 minutes. And then it was just like, well, that's what we're going to do. Because we did know it was a back injury. We just didn't know the extent of it at that point, and we really didn't want him going on gravel and bumpy roads and over all of that. We wanted him as stable as possible. It just felt surreal. You never want to see one of your loved ones, especially your best friend, be taken off in a helicopter. And that is the first thing that kind of registered with me that this is really serious.
I just happened to be on call that night when Mr. Bickham came in following his trauma, and as usual, I got notified by my residents about what's been happening with him, and that was the first time that I became aware of him. He was having difficulty moving his legs and had a lot of pain, and subsequently underwent a lot of imaging studies that showed some problem with his spine. And we start discussing about possible surgical intervention given his problems.
We were sitting in a room, kind of waiting on the doctor's decision. Shelby and my dad were sitting in the room with me. They come in and say, hey, we're going to do emergency surgery now. They wheel me back in there, kind of get me prepped up in the room. I just remember going to sleep and then waking up in ICU.
He essentially sustained an incomplete spinal cord injury from a burst fracture of his T12 vertebral body, which resulted in a lot of compression on his spinal cord and subsequently resulted in a spinal cord injury that was causing weakness of his legs. Based on all the imaging studies and the history, we felt that his injury was unstable and probably needed some type of a surgical fixation. There were these metal screws that we put into the bone part of the spine, and we connect them to these metal rods to stabilize him. He had severe compression of his spinal cord, so we removed some of his bone as well to create more space for his spinal cord that was injured.
We were just always hoping for the best. When you have a surgery, we're thinking that's great that we can get that done. Now the work's going to begin from this point on.
The days in the ICU, my right leg, I could kind of twitch a little bit here and there, but my left leg, I still couldn't move it at all. I could kind of feel once you got below my knees, that's when it started feeling distant on touch. And then I couldn't feel anything below my ankles on either leg. That's when I kind of knew everything's changed now.
We would be outside the door there in the waiting area. There were a lot of people there that came by to check on Clint. As we talked with him, he was still uncomfortable, but they were doing everything they could to help him with the pain. And they basically looked at us and said, we're starting rehab tomorrow.
We started doing physical therapy and occupational therapy there in ICU.
Having good friends is, one of the most important things you have. Clint's the type that if they need anything, he's going to be there for them. And the same with them, that they're going to do everything they can for him. And throughout the process, they would look at Clint. Anything you need, you let us know. We'll take care of it. The house, the kids, let us know.
My goal was, if I could walk out of ICU, I'd try to, but wanting to have as much of my life back before the injury, being able to be there for my kids and my wife and, being able to coach kids growing up. They're about to be 3, about to be 5. They got their whole lives ahead of them. I want to be able to be a part of their lives, fully, that my parents were to me, and kind of give them that same type of childhood that I had.
And he's straight up and down. I'm telling you.
With this type of injury, it's a long-term recovery. We usually work on getting these patients into a rehab setting.
We transported him with an ambulance to Baylor that Saturday after he fell. He would do 3 hours of therapy every single day. He got home on Christmas Eve. The kids are very, very excited, and he's just in his home and not able to do the things he wants to do. And for about a week and a half, it was probably one of the hardest times that we've ever gone through in our marriage. Not for anything that he was doing wrong or I was doing wrong. It was just doing everything that had been done for him over the last 2 months, and also being a mom and a wife, and him trying to figure out how he can be a dad and a husband and himself on top of all the medical things that he was having to do and I was having to do.
Every session we go to, there has always been improvement every single time. I would drive him there to the facility.
Feel pretty stable?
We had to push him where his systems are being overwhelmed, and he had to have that leap of faith to say, I know I'm going to push to failure, and I'm like, that's exactly what we want. That's going to push your sensory systems to get better, to get your balance stronger.
You got this.
And the family was very, very much involved right from the beginning. And I remember Shelby letting me know that as much as possible, they wanted his therapy to be started and be aggressive. And if he could come every day, if he could come twice a day, whatever we could get him in, she would be grateful for.
Big step.
What we've done over time is repeatedly assess for what's coming back. He's gotten some more sensory return, a little bit lower, and he's gotten a lot more muscle strength. You always focus on function, doing transfers, doing things where he had to use his legs, whether or not he needed his hands to help, doing a lot of things in weight bearing and pre-gait.
When he came to see us, he could not walk, he couldn't drive, he could not stand to make a meal, he couldn't work, he couldn't do any of the things that he was doing prior, mainly from the not being able to ambulate. I think that's what stood out the most to me was his mentality about rehab. He was so resilient during the whole process. If I asked him to do something, he usually would give me a little side eye or crazy face, but he was going to do it and he was going to give 120%. That was all he was focused on, and he was going to be better. When I started first working with him, he couldn't drive. He couldn't stand up by himself. He couldn't dress himself. He couldn't take care of all of the daily self-care things that he needs to take care of. And now he's independent. He's able to do everything, pretty much. Maybe with a modification, but he's able to do it.
His dad would take him every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, stay with him, send us videos. They spent way too much time together. They argued a lot. And then on the breaks and when I could, I would take him. And then most recently, he is driving, which has been very wonderful, not only for us, but for him, because he has his independence back.
When you get involved with such a good story like this, it makes you feel good about yourself. It makes you feel good about what you do and what you have gone through and kind of things that you could do for other people that's out there. It's one of those catalysts that keeps you going for the future as well. So, it's always good to be around this kind of story, obviously.
I don't think he's going to have any limits. Whatever he wants to do, whatever he puts his mind to, I think he can do it.
I'm so thankful for every one of them and the care that they've given our entire family the entire time. I couldn't have asked for better care.
Thank you. We had to navigate something that we didn't know how to navigate, and they helped us. And he's stronger because of it. And he didn't just help him, but for my kids, because they're so young. And for me to have my husband back. This is all new, and they helped us get him back.
Thank you. I wouldn't be here without you. I mean, I wouldn't be able to play with my kids. I wouldn't be able to go to work and spend time with my family and enjoy life again. I wouldn't be here without you.
Wow, what a story. Thank you, Clint, for allowing us to tell your story. You have an incredible amount of determination. Will Clint's healers and heroes please stand and gather outside the hall where the foundation staff will escort you to the stage. Let's give them a round of applause as they stand up. Okay, now on to our next story. Take a deep breath. Many of us can relate to the joy of finding out we're expecting a child. And that was very much the case for Temper and her husband. But soon into her pregnancy, Temper began to experience difficulties that would test the strength and determination of her and her care team. This is Temper and Jubilee's story.
We've been together for 11 years, married for 7. It took us a long time to get pregnant.
It was good when we found out. She took multiple pregnancy tests because we couldn't believe it at the time.
We were blessed to get pregnant actually with triplets. Jubilee's egg split, and so we had a vanishing triplet.
Baby C was really just a gestational sac that dissolved away pretty early. And so subsequently there were twins. Baby A and Baby B, those were the two that we were taking care of.
Twin A and Twin B. Our son was Twin A and Jubilee was Twin B.
Everything was going really smoothly. Her babies were looking well. They were growing well. Everything was going along pretty smoothly until early in her second trimester. And then that's when we started having some complications.
I started to have a pain in my side. It was just like this really sharp pain. And so I went to the triage and they just couldn't figure it out. And then I remember going home, and later that day I was in my kitchen and I just felt like kind of like a pop, and there was just like a ton of blood. They really couldn't figure out what happened. It was just a large blood clot. In the 13th week, I did start to feel better. Things started to calm down. I was 14 weeks to the day, October 23rd, 2022. I felt another pop and water. We immediately drove to the triage, and I delivered my son vaginally. It was horrific.
When she came to the hospital, her cervix was opened. Baby A was subsequently delivering, and so we, ended up taking care of that miscarriage. Any miscarriage is always really tough and really devastating for the families. But usually when you reach 13 to 14 weeks, you start getting more reassured about things. So the fact that this happened so late in the game for baby A was really devastating.
I knew after the loss of my son that I was not going to do this again. Whatever happened with Jubilee, I knew that I wasn't going to attempt to get pregnant again. This was too much on my body.
I still get depressed because I always wonder, what would it have been like for Jubilee to have a playmate? What would it look like? Hey, we have a daughter, we have a son.
They did tell me that, unfortunately, because I was dilated slightly, my twin B, who is Jubilee, would not be viable. There wasn't much they could do. And so they were just like, we're going to send you home, and once you feel yourself going into labor with baby B, just come back. But the viability is just not there. I lost my son, but there was a part of me that still had Jubilee. I just had to, keep going. I had an appointment with Dr. Busada. She ran some tests. I was listening to a song in the car on my way to that appointment, and the song was called Jubilee, and I was like, I just know this is a girl. I said, if this is a girl like I think it is, her name's going to be Jubilee, because she is happy. And we get there, and Dr. Busada does the results, and it was a girl. Things were looking okay, and I knew what the facts were, and I appreciated the facts that were given to me. But I also knew what my body felt. I saw my baby. I saw how happy she was, and she was still doing her thing. I was just prepared to move forward.
We get to December 23rd. I just coincidentally happened to be on call that night. I go to take over that night shift, and we're looking at the monitoring on the baby, and something just does not seem right. Suddenly the heart rate is creeping up, which could potentially be a sign of infection. The baby's having some decelerations or some subtle dips in the heartbeat. So it's starting to show more signs of distress or more signs of placental insufficiency. If you're making a call like that on a 22-weeker, you really want to make sure that there is no other option possible. Something had definitely taken a turn that night. Then Temper had felt a lot of pressure, and when they went to go and examine her, she had subsequently had a cord prolapse. A cord prolapse is when the baby's umbilical cord actually passes through the cervix and into the patient's vagina, and it is an absolute obstetric emergency.
I'm thinking in the back of my head, okay, what if I have to make a decision? Am I going for my wife or for the child? Both now have become extremely critical.
It was so fast. They reacted so quickly. I did not have a lot of time to process that this was about to happen. They had me in the OR, on the table, and sleep within 3 minutes.
The baby's cord prolapse, there was no turning back. When we were notified about that, it was all hands on deck. Ultimately, that night, we had to deliver Jubilee at 22 weeks and 5 days. I'm passing off to the NICU team so that they can emergently get Jubilee intubated and on that ventilator and ready to go. She fit literally into the palm of my hand. She was the smallest baby I had ever seen.
What are you doing sucking on that tube? Oh, you're so stinking cute.
Our first goal is to get the tube in, the breathing tube. That is the immediate life-saving thing. These babies cannot do breathing on their own. The heart is functioning okay, the gut comes later, but the respiratory system is the most important part. It took a couple of attempts for our team to get the breathing tube in, but we got the breathing tube in successfully. And then the next job is how to ventilate these babies. It is an art. We have to be very, very gentle. They are very fragile. Any mistake, any changes in the pressure is going to cause problem. In our NICU, we have a protocol like golden hour, which means within 1 hour, we try to put the tube, we try to put the lines, and then give all the basic medications, and then put them in isolate and close it. So what that isolate does is it keeps them warm, it provides the humidity, and keeps them away from the infection. In case of Jubilee, actually she had pulmonary hemorrhage. She bled in the lungs, which is like a very, very severe life-threatening condition. Okay. Most of the babies, if they develop pulmonary hemorrhage or severe pulmonary hemorrhage, they don't make it. It is like we are trying to take care of the lungs, heart, skin, infection, and nutrition. When I talk to families, I say every day is a new day. Today we are having a good day, tomorrow it may not be. Exact same thing happened with Jubilee. Some days were good, some days were not so good. And there was a day when she had a pulmonary hemorrhage. We thought we almost lost her.
After they extubated Temper and brought her back to her room, she suddenly had some acute onset chest pain and shortness of breath. And it turns out Temper ended up having flash pulmonary edema and ultimately had to get diuresed and transferred to our ICU for additional monitoring.
Temper lungs had got filled with fluid, so Temper was fighting for her life.
Their investment was very clear and evident in how they cared for me and what they said to me.
What is that?
It wasn't until 2 or 3 days later when I got to see her in the NICU for myself that the reality of the journey we were in for kind of set in.
But you're going to be okay. I have faith in that. We were up there every day, every time the visiting clock hit. Okay, we're up to see Jubilee.
I didn't understand. I just knew that this was scary. We were in the beginning stages of not knowing what was going to be next.
Jubilee was 15 ounces. She was scrawny, all legs. She had such long limbs. Their skin is translucent. You could see through their skin half the time. Typically, the size of your hand is how big they are. You can literally hold them in the palm of your hand. If they're born under 25 weeks, a lot of times their eyes are still fused. So they can't even open their eyes yet. And we try to bathe kids twice a week when they're that little. And I remember telling Temper, I was like, hey, we're going to change her sheets. I'm going to get my respiratory therapist over here. Do you want to hold her while we do this?
That was the first time I got to hold my baby. And they changed her bed sheets, and I just had to go very closely and just, hold her a little bit. But they gave me my first moment of connection with her, and it was beautiful. That's the magic of what those ladies do. They find moments to make you feel like a mom when you don't, because moms get to take their babies home. And NICU moms don't. As a first-time mom, I already don't know how to be a mom, right? Like, you're learning, but I'm learning differently. And they gave me special moments like that so often. And I just, you don't forget that.
We celebrate every day. That's what my notion is. I tell families that, enjoy every day you can, because things can go wrong.
There was a night in, I think, our second or third week in the NICU. I heard a sound come in from my phone.
We're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning because we're thinking like, okay, we're about to lose our baby.
So we get up there and all the things are happening. Everybody is sitting at the bedside, all the nurses. I felt devastated. That is a night that I will never forget. That was the first night we almost lost her. From there, Jubilee accelerated. She staged down on all of her oxygen support levels very quickly.
By the point when this nasal jet we were trying and she was doing good, that point I thought that the baby is going be out of the woods now. We probably don't have to go back to invasive ventilation, and that's a big achievement because the longer they stay on the invasive ventilation, the more damage is done to the lungs. So I think that was the make it or break it kind of a point.
Miss Jubilee Williams.
After 128 days, they threw us the biggest graduation. It was so nice.
Jubilee's going home today.
And that is the most satisfying part of your job. When you see these babies going home, you see the smile on their families, mom, dad. That is why you want to do neonatology. Babies like Jubilee, and I say this, it is nothing but miracle. And miracles do happen.
When it comes to outcomes like what happened to Temper and Jubilee, those are ones that keep you going. There is also a lot of tragedy that can happen in the OB and pediatric field, and those really stay with you as well. So then when you have an outcome like this that's happened, it's just the best.
They saved both of our lives, 100%. I don't know what it takes to realize that somebody has flash pulmonary edema. That is something people pass away from. I firmly believe they saved both of our lives.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They really exceeded expectation with saving my daughter and helping her to be who she is today. I will be forever grateful for the job that they've done for our family.
Thank you for not just making this a job, but for making this like your life's mission and calling. And thank you for taking so much pride and care in what you do and every aspect of what you do.
What an amazing story. It's always a pleasure for us to highlight just amazing stories that happen really every day. Temper, Xavier, and Jubilee, we are so happy to have you all with us tonight. Would Jubilee's and Temper's healers and heroes please stand and gather outside the hall? Let's give them a round of applause as they stand up. Lisa, come on up. Lisa's coming up on stage. She's going to talk in just a minute, but she's got a nice Mardi Gras float here that she's coming up on. So here we go. You can help me with the ask, Lisa.
Okay.
For 4 months, baby Jubilee was in ICU, and a giraffe warmer played a key role in her care. Giraffe warmers are a warmer bed for premature and critically ill newborns. They provide a stable, warm environment that is open, allowing care teams easy access to the baby. We want to ensure that every baby who needs this life-saving care has access to this technology. So our goal tonight is to raise the $20,000 needed to provide another giraffe warmer to the NICU in honor of Jubilee and her care team. Every dollar raised tonight will be matched by an anonymous donor. You guys have done it every year, and so I hope you join with me in making this gift. How do you do it? On the back of your program is a QR code that you can scan and make your gift. You can also text GIVE to the number on the screens. Thank you for partnering with us to invest in the health and well-being of our region. So at this time, I'd like to invite Lisa Babin, my colleague and friend, who is the Chief Communications and Public Affairs Officer for LSU Health Shreveport, to help us present tonight's healers. As Lisa comes right here, I'd like to invite Dr. Johnson and Mr. Calicott to come up as well to the stage.
Thank you, Kevin, and good evening, everyone.
While our healers are gathering, I want to recognize the amazing team of Greg Lawrence and Kevin Alexander with CRM Studios for producing these outstanding videos. I know that you all join me in recognizing their talent, and I would love to have a round of applause for these wonderful stories that they've told this evening. An evening for healers would not be the same without CRM. It is our hope that the 14th Annual Evening for Healers has once again demonstrated what a critical asset LSU Health Shreveport is to our community. I have the honor and the privilege of working with many of these honorees every day, and I can tell you firsthand how committed they are to training the next generation of healers and delivering life-saving care each and every day. Even coming on board as a scooter, it is an extreme privilege to introduce our very deserving honorees this evening. Let's begin recognizing those involved in Clint's care. From LSU Health Shreveport, neurosurgery resident Dr. Bryce Bonin. Clinical Assistant Professor of Occupation Therapy, Noelle Burton. Neurosurgery resident, Dr. Joseph Camarano. Assistant Professor of Clinical Surgery and Trauma, Medical Director, Dr. Brett Chapman. Assistant Professor of Internal Medicine and Program Director of Critical Care Medicine Fellowship, Dr. Jonathan Eaton. Rehab Exercise Specialist, Kevin Fentress. Clinical Assistant Professor of Anesthesiology, Dr. Patricia Renee Griffin. General Surgery Resident, Dr. Matthew Keene. Physical Therapy Assistant and Clinical Instructor of Physical Therapy, Suzanne Morrison. Occupational Therapy Assistant, Kara Roan. Neurosurgery resident, Dr. Charles Ronkin. Board-certified clinical specialist in neurologic physical therapy and assistant professor of physical therapy, Dr. Julie Schwartzfeger. Professor and Vice Chair of Neurosurgery and Director of Complex Spinal Disorders, Dr. Anthony Sin. And from Ochsner LSU Health Shreveport, physical therapist Victoria Camp. Anesthesiologist Creighton Cathy. Trauma ICU pharmacist Ryan Grant. Surgical ICU nurse Brittany Haltom. Case manager Ivana Henderson. Relief scrub tech Revis Henderson. Surgical ICU nurse and day supervisor Jennifer Killeen. Surgical ICU nurse Stephanie Marsh. Circulator Tony Miner. Surgical ICU nurse Ashlyn Stewart. Scrub tech Hunter Thompson. From Caddo Parish Fire District Number 5, paramedic Captain Rebecca Hall. Paramedic Stephen Dungan. EMT Bennett Hopkins. EMT Derek Ladson Jr. And from Life Air Rescue, flight nurse Tyler Mitchell. Flight paramedic Jordan Pennington. And pilot Dana Resnick. You may think these are all of the healers in Clint's story, but as you heard tonight, his friends played a huge role in his rescue and in him being here with us this evening. These individuals, his friends, show that even when the road ahead feels impossible, friends walk beside you, lighting the way with compassion and courage. It is our honor to deviate from official first responders and healthcare providers to Clint's friends who brought him out of those woods where his injury occurred. We are honored and ask that each of them stand when we call their name to come to the stage. Tanner Boos. Austin Carroll. Colby Chandler. Come on, guys, you're part of this story tonight. Come on up on the stage. Scott Dixon, Alex Garcia, Jeff Taylor, and Seth Wyman. And now let's recognize Jubilee's healers. From LSU Health Shreveport, internal medicine resident, Dr. Akish Babili. Assistant Professor of Obstetrics and Gynecology, Dr. Perry Scott Baraloo. Family Medicine Resident, Dr. Caitlin Bland. Assistant Professor of Obstetrics and Gynecology, Dr. Caitlin Busada. Associate Professor of Anesthesiology, Dr. Sonia Januso. Assistant Professor of Internal Medicine, Dr. Pratik Krishnan. Professor of Obstetrics and Gynecology, Dr. David Lewis. Obstetrics and Gynecology, Dr. Claude Lockhart, Sr. Obstetrics and Gynecology Resident, Dr. Matthew Root. Assistant Professor of Clinical Pediatrics, Dr. Janet Rossi. Internal Medicine Pediatrics Resident, Dr. Bailey Shaw. From Ochsner, LSU Health Shreveport, respiratory therapist Crystal Fiedler. Respiratory therapist Kayla Flash. Respiratory therapist Laura Goudot. Neonatal ICU nurse Danielle Hawkins. Labor and delivery nurse Valencia Jones. Neonatal ICU nurse practitioner Cynthia LaGrange. Pediatrics nurse Marissa McCullen. Neonatal ICU nurse Lauren LeBlanc Raspberry. Respiratory therapist Mark Valls. Labor and delivery nurse Kathy Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for our 2025 Healers and Heroes. Thank you. I would now like to invite Clint, Temper, and their families to the stage to say a few words.
Good evening. My name is Clint Bickham, and I'm here tonight to be a testament to the service and medical professionals behind me of what they do every single day. First, I'd like to thank my amazing family, my friends, and everyone else for being here tonight to listen to my story and meet the people responsible for my incredible recovery. These doctors, surgeons, nursing staff, and first responders saved my life and gave me the chance to be a husband and a dad again. And I will forever be grateful. I also want to thank my therapist, as you have taught me how to live again. No one thinks it will happen to them, but it does. I'm so thankful for Ochsner LSU for not only giving me a second chance, but also providing me with the tools to continue my life outside of this life-changing event. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Hopefully she won't interrupt us. All right. When reflecting on her complex delivery, Mother Katie Gardner once said, "But was it unavoidable? I don't know. I don't get to know. And that's okay. I don't need to know." I can't say I've fully reached that same piece about needing to know what could have been done to prevent the outcomes in my own pregnancy. But today, as Xavier and I look back, we realize we hold more gratitude than questions. Because with every challenge, we also witnessed the extraordinary compassion and care that makes Ochsner's LSU Health so special. Tonight, I want to share a few of those moments with you. Throughout my pregnancy, I made many late-night trips to labor and delivery triage. On most of those nights, it was Doctors Claude Lockhart and Matthew Root who met me there, never seeming to grow tired of seeing my face or hearing my concerns. When I lost my son, there was Miss Kathy from Labor and Delivery, who stood by me in one of my hardest moments of my life, making sure I had keepsakes to treasure his memory. Her kindness reminded me of my own mother, Kathy Stokes, who passed in 2020. When the shock of our loss was still fresh, Nurse Tori Rockwell gently equipped us with the resources we would need for the grief she knew was to come. When we received a dreaded 3 a.m. call from the NICU, Miss Denise, in admitting, welcomed us with compassion and care, something she has continued to do with every admission since. In the NICU, when every mom around me was holding her baby and my hope was slipping, nurses Danielle Hawkins and Lauren Raspberry worked with our respiratory therapists to make sure we could help with Jubilee's very first bath. Peds nurses Holly and Marissa, along with Dr. Bailey Shaw, continue to bring joy into the room every time we're admitted, no matter how frightening or exhausting things may feel. Last summer, when Jubilee gave us our biggest scare yet, every PICU nurse and respiratory therapist, whether assigned to her or not, worked tirelessly alongside her doctors to provide not only incredible care for Jubilee, but also comfort and strengthen us as her parents. When it was time for a hard and honest conversation about Jubilee's care, NICU nurse practitioner Patricia Richardson woke up in the middle of the night to deliver the news herself, with gentleness and compassion. And I will never forget the moment when Dr. Busada, along with so many nurses, doctors, techs, and staff from labor and delivery, peds, and the NICU, came by to sit with us, pray over Jubilee, and hold us close during the most difficult 12 days of our lives. So while we may never fully understand why our journey to parenthood unfolded the way it did, we do know this. If it weren't for the nurses, doctors, respiratory therapists, and many others here tonight, we would not be standing here as Jubilee's mommy and daddy. And for that, we will never have enough words to thank you, or the staff at Ochsner St. Mary's for giving us the greatest gift of our lives. Thank you.
Hey, Papa, it's okay. To Clint, Jubilee, and your families, thank you for allowing us to share in your stories and to join you in honoring these healers this evening. Healers, on behalf of everyone in this room and those who benefit from your daily care, expertise, and compassion, we sincerely thank you for everything you do each and every day. Patients and healers, please remain on the stage. We're going to get a jillion photos of you. This is a celebration night, so just don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. The rest of you may now move into the next portion of our evening, which is going to be a twilight reception, a cup of coffee if you choose, a dessert, so that you can continue this evening of celebration. We are so grateful for your support and your presence. Please have a safe trip home, and we look forward to seeing you at the 15th Annual Evening for Healers. Thank you.